Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is going to be my review for the season premiere of The Walking Dead, Season 5, Episode 1, No Sanctuary, and I could not wait for this premiere, especially because of the way the finale ended. I could not wait. This episode just looked amazing to me. I couldn't wait for it. And how was this premiere? This premiere was fucking awesome. It did not disappoint. It was so amazing. I was so into this episode. Everything was absolutely fantastic in this episode. The acting was amazing. The action was amazing. Probably this might be the best episode The Walking Dead has ever done, just because of how intense this was. And I thought Too Far Gone and the finale was intense. This was like so much more intense compared to that. This is going to be an amazing season and probably the best season the show has given us. So let's just get to this episode because it was amazing. So, of course, if you guys don't remember, backtrack to the finale, because I know it's been a while. It's been, like, months. Like, what, 9 months? Like, since March, basically. So, if you guys don't remember, at the end of the last episode, Rick and all of them were, imprisoned in Terminus. They were trapped in they're trapped in, like, that train car thing. And Rick said, they're screwing with the wrong people. So we cut back and we see that the group is inside the train cart making weapons out of anything they possibly can, because Rick, as we know, is in complete he is in complete, killer mode. He wants to kill everyone at Terminus. He is not going to let them win, basically, and I was so looking forward to it at this point. Basically, they're making weapons out of anything they possibly can. They're making brass knuckles out of belts. They're ready for a fight, and the people throw a smoke grenade inside to clear the group, and you just hear Abraham scream, "Move!" And that was, so intense when that happened. They are then all thrown outside. Rick is kicked in the face. They see people cutting up a human body, and, this was so intense what happened here. They're set up against a tub and have both feet and hands tied up, and a couple of random guys have their heads hit with bats, throat slit, and all drains into a tub, and then Bob tells them they don't have to do this, and they have a way out of this, and they just need to take a chance, and that they have a guy who knows a cure. And we know that that is Eugene. Eugene knows how this virus happened and he has a cure for it. So Gareth talks to Rick and threatens to stab Bob in the eye. And I gotta say, guy that plays Gareth is like an awesome villain. Rick lets him know they have guns stashed nearby and makes it clear he will kill Gareth. So that was awesome. So the people keep hearing a sound and an explosion hits, and then the intro starts, and the intro this season is amazing. I love the intro. I always love the intro on the show. And then we finally catch up with Tyrese, Carol, and Judith. The last time we saw them was, the third to last episode of Season 4. And the last time, of course, when we saw them, that is when Tyrese found out that Carol killed Karen and David. And ever since then, they went on the road on their own. And that was a very hard episode to watch. I remember the Grove, very hard episode to watch. And basically, they're on the road to Terminus, and a walker comes out of the forest, and Tyrese says he really can't do it this time. He's kind of weak. He can't do it. So Carol stabs in the head, and I like that Tyrese, even though he is a badass, he is looking after Judith like it's his own daughter. That's how much he cares for her, and I really love that, definitely. I thought Tyrese, I've said this before, Tyrese is a very good father figure, in my opinion. I think Tyrese would make a very good father. I've talked about this in the past, and I definitely think that, he would make a very good father, and that continues to show in this episode, definitely. So, basically, Carol stabs it in the head, notices tons more coming. The two run off, trying to get away from the horde, and the two hear gunfire, and the walkers start walking into the direction of the sounds, and they get onto the railroad, and they assume it's from Terminus, and they decide they'll keep going. Because basically that's where they're going to Terminus. So then we see some guy near a log cabin, and he's probably from Terminus. He's setting up some fireworks. Carol walks over, literally points a gun to the back of his head, and she's like, "We want the samurai chick and the young boy out. We know you have them." And that was, so awesome when she said that. So Carol decides they will go ahead to Terminus. They know that something is not right with Terminus. They can already tell that something is not good with Terminus. So Tyrese decides to stay back with the guy, and basically, for the first half of this episode, Carol is on her own while Tyrese is with this guy, And Carol goes out and covers herself in the blood of walkers, basically to make herself look like a walker. So, and I thought this was actually very genius what Carol did. She does this so she doesn't, turn into so the walkers don't try to kill her or something. I thought that was definitely a very smart thing for Carol to do. Like, Carol, really, she is smart, definitely. I gotta say, Carol is definitely a very smart woman, that she did that, and I thought that was just really awesome what she did there. So, basically, Tyrese then talks to the guy. The guy mentions he had friends to watch football with, and now they're all dead. So he tells Tyrese he's a very good guy, and that's why he will die. And Tyrese gets up, and the guy tells him to take a car, then leave with the baby. And the guy before had told them all that, they came after us, so all kinds of bullshit about that. They're like, they came after us, we didn't come after them, like all kinds of bullshit there. And basically, Carol's out walking, she sneaks up to a fence, and she sees Rick and the gang captured. So now she knows officially that something's not right about Terminus. She takes out some guns, starts looking around the camp. She finds a propane tank, which catches her eye. She shoots it. The gates are now blown open, and the walkers start entering. So at this point, there are literally dozens of walkers everywhere. And when I say everywhere, I mean everywhere. There are walkers literally all over the place. It is just so intense here. And I gotta say, the next scene was extremely well done. So the guy basically talks to Tyrese, the guy from Terminus, and he says that the woman he was with must have died or he'll be the one to get capped. And Tyrese says no one has to die, which is true. No one really has to die here. And the guy tells Tyrese that with that attitude, he's gonna die. And I like that Tyrese is kind of in a more, I don't want to say emotional state, but you know how Tyrese is like usually a little bit more like, sort of like a badass guy, sort of like a guy who will kill someone if he needs to. I'm sure Tyrese will still kill someone if he needs to, but at this point in the show, he was definitely more of a sort of like, he was in I don't give a fuck mode, definitely. And I love that about his character. I thought that was great, and he was awesome in this episode, I gotta say. So, the guy tells Tyrese that with that attitude, he'll die, and the explosions go off, and everyone is down at this point. Now, at this point, I was wondering, are we not going to see the rest of the people in Terminus for the rest of the episode? Because I was wondering if we were going to, because at this point, I just wasn't sure. So, Garrett tells his boys to sit back and look after the guys, basically, that's what they do, they look after the guys. And the walkers are slowly making their way inside, with Carol following them. So, this is you get a really intense scene here. So Rick gets up and stabs the two guys who held him captive, and he then frees Glenn, Daryl, and Bob. So, they're free, and I was surprised how free they all got from Terminus. This was really awesome. Now, we know that Rick, means business here. He is in full business mode. He literally went up to these two Terminus guys and, stabbed them. That's how much Rick means business. When he says, he'll kill someone, he meant he will kill someone. He's not joking here. He will actually kill someone. And I thought that was really awesome about, what happened in this episode. I thought that was definitely a very awesome thing. So, I just thought that was really awesome. So basically, then what's happening is that, Rick gets up, stabs the two guys who held him. Oh, I just read that. So basically, back at the train car, Carl lets them know they'll come back safely. And Michonne notices a walker outside the cart, and Carol shoots a guy with a gun in the head, kills another man on top of a roof. And it's really intense at this point. Rick and the guys start picking up weapons, notice a room filled with several human limbs and bodies. Rick lets them know that they must kill all the people they cross because they won't hesitate, which they won't. They probably won't hesitate. I agree with Rick. They're not going to hesitate. They will probably kill them. And Glenn tells Rick that they must save some people. So they clear the walkers and they open up the shipping container and they save the guy that's there, though he runs off and is killed by a walker instantly. So, basically everything they wanted to get done is getting done for them. And I thought that was awesome when that happened. I thought that was definitely very awesome. So, basically then what happens is Carol walks into a room with a bunch of stuff that belonged to people who were captured, and then picks up Daryl's crossbow and takes it with her, because basically Terminus took away all their weapons and anything that they had they just took it away, which was definitely very big. Now, again, at this point, here's the big thing. We still don't really know what their motive was, and I thought that was definitely very interesting, and I like that they didn't reveal that in the finale. Now, at this point, actually, in the finale, I was going to complain that I didn't like that they didn't have enough action with Terminus, but I'm actually happy they didn't, because this episode definitely paid off because of that. So, Rick runs off and he sees a bunch of people with guns, and Daryl saves him by killing a walker from behind, and Rick waits for the guys with guns to pass. He takes out the last one, steals his gun, and Rick then guns down all the other people that are holding guns, because Rick said, look, we're gonna kill everyone here. Like, he meant it when he said, I'm gonna kill they're screwing with the wrong people, because he is literally killing everyone from Terminus at this point. Anyone that pulls a gun on them or tries to kill them, Rick just kills them, and I love that, because last year, Rick was filled with sort of like, he tried to be a little bit more rational about things. He wasn't as violent as he is this season. Nope, now he is a full-on, like, killer. He will kill people if he needs to, and he'll do whatever he can to protect, who he cares about. He will do whatever he can to protect, his family. I'm going to call them his family because they really are his family. They've been together for so long that they really are a family, in my opinion. I feel they are a family. So then Rick waits for the guys with guns to pass. He takes out the last one, steals his gun, and then I already read this. So then we get a very good scene. I love this next scene. I thought this was fantastic. So Carol enters a room filled with candles, and a woman tells her to drop her weapons and turn around. So Carol then turns, then shoots at the woman. Carol then runs at the woman, tackles her down, and then she aims the rifle at her. And I thought this was definitely a very well done scene, because the woman finally talks about we finally find out what Terminus's motive is, which I thought was very well done, because again, we had no idea what their motive was. So I was very happy that we found out here, and I thought this was just a very well done scene. So the woman mentions how the place was taken over by people who killed, basically everything that sign was true. When it said, this is a place for safety, it was supposed to be, everything that was there was true. However, these people came to Terminus, they took over Terminus, and it was taken over by people who killed and raped. And here's what I'm assuming. I'm assuming that these people were exactly like Rick and all of them. They just came there for Terminus. But something ended up happening where they took, like, all the weapons and everything, or something like that. Like, they took all the weapons, basically, and they took away everything, and basically that's what they ended up doing. So they took all the weapons, and they made it so, people that came to Terminus would basically be scared to come to Terminus. It would just be, I think that's basically what ended up happening there. So I thought that was just such a well-done scene. I wanted to know why they were there for so long, and I thought that was very well done. So Carol asks for the people in the train cart, but the woman doesn't answer, so Carol shoots her in the leg, and the woman begs to have the gun aimed to her head, and Carol then tells her that what they do here is sick, and she lets a bunch of walkers in on the woman, because the woman has no problem, really, because the woman, while she does have a problem, she's not letting Carol go. So you clearly can tell she's working for Terminus. Even people who don't like what they're doing are working for Terminus, probably because they were forced to. So she lets a bunch of walkers in on the woman, and Tyrese sees the smoke and then notices a bunch of walkers coming nearby, and a guy in the room then takes Judith as hostage and asks Tyrese to drop his weapon, which he does, and Tyrese then goes out with the walkers, and basically he tells Tyrese two very simple instructions, and this scene is so intense, because you see him, he literally has Judith in, like, this, like bowl or something like that, and he has, like, his hand on his neck. He says, go with the walkers or I'll snap her neck. And I was like, this guy means business. Like, seriously, this is so intense at this point. Like, the show is extremely intense right now. So Tyrese goes outside with the walkers, and the guy hears the walkers outside stop making sounds. So he goes to check, and Tyrese comes in slamming him on the floor. He beats the shit out of the guy, puts a knife to his neck, and just, like, that was crazy. So he beats this guy up really well, knocks him out, and just, as I said, Tyrese, even though he was being like a family man in this episode, he will kill someone if he needs to, and I definitely really enjoyed that about Tyrese a lot. I thought that was great. Like, everyone in The Walking Dead, while they have a soft side to them, while they all are sort of softies, like, a lot of them are very softies. Daryl's a softie, I'd say. Tyrese a softie. They will kill someone if they need to, which I love about The Walking Dead. That's something I will always love about this show, and something I loved particularly about this episode. So He beats the guy up, knocks him out, and Michonne and the others in the cart are making their weapons that they're planning out to get out of the cart. And Abraham makes it clear he's going to protect Eugene from anything. And Eugene starts talking about what he did and says they have a chance to possibly change all of this. So, I thought that was definitely really well done. Because if you remember, they were sort of... I don't remember if they were the ones that specifically talked about Terminus. I think they were, actually. Were they the ones that talked... I think they were the ones that actually talked about Terminus, so they kind of feel bad about this, definitely. So Rick opens up the train cart, lets everyone out. They all go and start running off from the walkers. The group escape and are walking into the forest. They go ahead and they dig up their supplies. So, I was surprised that they got out of Terminus so quickly. I thought the whole season, like the whole arc this season, was going to be them trapped in Terminus and us seeing them, possibly like try to get out of there. I thought that was going to be the arc this season. However, it doesn't seem like that's the case, and I actually like that they did not make that the arc this season, because here's the thing, as much as I love seeing like all this comic on in Terminus, like there was a certain point where it'd be like, okay, enough already, because last season, they spent way too much time in that prison, and I feel like they know that they did that, so what they did, because they know they spent so much time in that prison, they're not spending as much time in, places, because they know that people were upset that they spent so much time in that prison, and I thought that was definitely very well done that they did that, because people did complain over that. People complained, oh, they spent too much time here, or they spent too much time, in this location, or this location. I like that they did that, because they know that we weren't really happy that they spent so much time in the prison, or they spent so much time separated. So I'm wondering if they're really going in more of like an action direction, which I do like, definitely. I like they're going in a more action direction. I think that's really awesome, actually, that they're doing that. Now, even though I liked it that it was dialogue driven last year, I am not saying I do not like that it is dialogue driven. I love that it was dialogue driven last year. I thought that was fantastic, actually. So I really like that. However, what I will say is that I wish, what I will say is that I do think that probably, probably what's going to happen is, what I will say that I think probably what they're going to do is they're going to go, like, different places and things like that. And basically, this is a very touching scene. He opens the train car, lets everyone out. They all go off and start running off from the walkers, and they're all reunited. It's such a beautiful scene because they have been reunited for so long, and we've all waited for them to be reunited, and I thought this was great. Rick commands that they will take out the rest of them, but nobody likes this idea at all. Nobody thinks, look, we're safe. Why do we need to do this? And I agree. They are safe. Why do they need to do this? So my thinking is maybe Rick is gonna maybe secretly take them out somehow. I don't know what he's gonna do, but I feel like Terminus, I don't think that whole thing is over. I don't think it is. I personally don't think it's over, but... I don't really know if the whole arc is over, because not all of them are dead. Like, Gareth is still out there. Gareth is still out there, so I don't think they're all dead, but I'm not exactly sure. So, Carol walks over to the group, and Daryl runs over to hug her. Great reunion. That was just... But the next scene almost had me crying. Rick walks over and can't believe it. Carol confesses that she did all that, and I thought that was awesome. Now, of course... Rick really didn't trust Carol. If you remember, he sent her off because she killed Karen and David, and he didn't think that she was right to be in the group. So he was very surprised that she did all of that for them, and Carol then tells them to go with her. They find Tyrese with Judith, and you just see Rick's, get so happy at this point, because all this time he thought his daughter was dead. He thought that she was dead. He thought he'd never see her again. And think about it. I mean... Think about where Rick was all last season. He thought his daughter was dead. He thought he'd never see her again. And that was just so, huge to see to see Judith again. It was just such a great scene. He hugs her, and it's just, oh my god, such a beautiful scene. And Andrew Lincoln in that scene, geez, that hit me. That hit me right there. And I was like, okay, this season is absolutely amazing. So basically, Tyrese then explains how he had to kill the guys inside since he threatened to kill Judith. And Rick says the place is still burning. And they all decide to go and make sure it's far away from the people. And they're now, the place is still burning. So they want to make sure no one else ever comes to Terminus, which I really like. So they all decide to go, and they are now all walking together. And Rick decides to write on a sign that there is no sanctuary at Terminus, which I really like, and that goes perfectly with the title of the episode, because there is no sanctuary at Terminus. If you come to Terminus, it's not going to end up well for you, which I really liked. He covered up the whole, oh, you're safe and everything. He covers that whole thing up. So, and then I love the way the episode ended. We see a flashback of people in the train carts, and we find out that, yes, I was correct. Gareth was inside, having just been like Rick's group, and I thought that was fantastic. I was very happy to see that we found that out, because I personally thought that was true. I definitely really enjoyed that, in my opinion, and I thought that was really fantastic. I love that, and just absolutely fantastic stuff there in this episode. This episode was just amazing. Now, that seemed like it was the end of the episode. It did. It seemed like it was the end of the episode. However, guys, let's talk about a little something. I have never seen a show actually do this. This season, they had a post-credits scene, and I was not expecting this at all, and I freaked out when I saw this. Like, this was amazingly done. I freaked out. I was not expecting this at all. I thought this was amazing. We see this guy with a mask on walking towards the no sanctuary sign. He takes off the mask, and it's Morgan. Morgan is back. Yes, Morgan is going to reunite with Rick's group, and basically, this is showing that Morgan is back for this season. And that is the perfect way to start this season, because this episode was just fantastic. I loved everything that went on in it. And again, the thing I love is that it really was completely unexpected that they would get out of Terminus as fast as they did. Now, I will understand some people say this was rushed a little bit, but I personally think it was not rushed at all, because the finale was so slow-paced that this had to be rushed, really. This gave us the finale that we wanted, and I definitely like that, because they knew that they kind of messed up last season, and I appreciate them for knowing that. And I thought that was just fantastic. I love the way that was done. We also saw that woman Mary, she was thrown into a dark room, and another woman was dragged out. That was, we saw all those Termians were being terrorized, and I thought that was really awesome. That was definitely very well done, in my opinion. I really enjoyed that. And I like that it said then as well. I thought that was really interesting. Definitely. I like that it said then, because it was like a flashback to what we saw with Gareth in the group, and I thought that was very well done. But everything in this episode was absolutely amazing. I loved everything that happened. Everything was just so intense in this episode. The Terminus arc, I don't know if it's over. I don't know if it's officially over. There's a part of me that wants to say it is over, but then there's a part of me that says, it's The Walking Dead. Like, how do we know it's officially over? I personally don't think that this is officially over. I feel like there's something else that is going to, continue. I definitely feel that, there's something with the Terminus arc is going to continue. Because Rick still wants to kill everyone in that group. I don't think Rick is just going to abandon that. That does not seem like something Rick would do. Because Rick is a very different person this season. He is basically just in killer mode. He will kill whoever tries to harm his family, and he will protect his family. That's sort of what they're like a tag team, basically. So, I think Rick will, still try to go after the remaining people in Terminus, because, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do not remember seeing Gareth dying in this episode. I don't remember seeing that. I remember seeing a bunch of other Termians dying, but I don't remember seeing Gareth dying. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I did. Now, as far as Morgan being back, that is going to be very interesting what happens there. I'm definitely really looking forward to that, to see what happens with him coming back. Also, Carol is sort of leading the group now, and I don't know if Rick's going to be 100% happy with that. It seems like Carol's sort of the leader of the group. I definitely feel like she is, and I don't know if Rick is going to be as happy as he should be, and I don't know what's going to happen with that. I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with that, too. What else did I talk about? Him being reunited with Juice was the most adorable thing ever. I thought that was amazing. Abraham and Eugene. What are they talking? They, of course, are very upset. They're saying, that they need to tell Rick what's going on. I don't exactly know what they're talking about. I think Eugene is going to tell Rick why this, whole cure has happened, about the cure, and why this whole virus, why the whole outbreak started. Because, again, Eugene has that, information of how this started. So I think that's definitely very interesting what happened there. I'm looking forward to seeing if we find out, because I do feel like we're going to, definitely. All the acting was fantastic in this episode. I loved everything in this episode. Thought everything was just absolutely fantastic. Just such an amazing episode. And that's basically for my review, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys thought of this premiere. I thought this premiere was just so fucking badass. I loved it. That's for my review. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for Homeland. So I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.